Let's update to 121.10. I can't believe that. Oh, right, we find ourselves back in IntelliJ once more, and I haven't said that in a long freaking time. And here we are with 121.10. Okay. At the very beginning, I want to once again clarify that you should only update if you really, really want to. This update tutorial is from 121.6 to 121.10. Very important. If you go from 121.1, you need to follow all of the other update tutorials that came before. And also, I still do not recommend you update. If you really want to, you can, but that is basically the idea. So let's see if we can, maybe we're going to be here once again for 121.12 or some stuff. At this point, I don't even know what's happening, okay? Regardless of that, to update, we want to go to our Gradle properties file and, of course, change the micro version here to 121.10. We can also actually change parchment to 121.9. And then here, this is going to be the October 5th in this case. So that's going to be 121.9 for parchment mappings and 2025, 10, and 05 right here. The NeoForge version is 10.12, if I recall correctly. So that's going to be the newest version that we have. We can also double check this, of course. I will link this in the description below. On the NeoForge project right here, we can see 21.10.12 beta. Very important. We're still on beta over here, although basically this is going to work. And if you want a, basically a summary of the changes, here's the news release for 21.9. It's basically the same as 21.10. They're both pretty much exactly the same. There's like 3 bug fixes, I think, in the hotfix. And you can, of course, also go to the primer over here on GitHub. Highly recommended. This is going to list every single change and everything that has changed over here. Highly, highly recommended to test this. But for our purposes, we're just going to update our project. One very important thing that I want to mention over here is the transfer rework. So basically in 21.9.1, as you can see, they have redesigned the item fluid energy transfer system. Now, right now, the things that we're using are deprecated, but they're not gone, right? So they have been marked as deprecated, but everything is still going to work. I will jump over the transfer rework and I will not implement the new one because I have not yet been able to fully work through this. It does seem really good. It seems like a very, very good change. It's using transactions, so it is very similar to the way that Fabric does it, which is actually a very good thing in this case. So yeah, but we will be taking a look at this hopefully when 122 comes out at some point. Okay, that is the changes right here. The second change is then in the build.gradle file right here in the mod def. If you're using the mod def, that's going to be 2.0.113. And I believe, crazily enough, I actually think that those are the only changes, and then obviously the changes in the code. So once we've done that, Gradle tab, and then reload all Gradle changes, this once again is going to take however many seconds, minutes, it's going to download stuff. Just stay patient, let this run through, and once we're done, then we can change some stuff. Luckily, it's not too complicated. All right, build successful with 50 seconds. And the first thing here in the tutorial mod class, at the very bottom right here, we have this bus. And the reason why this is the case is we no longer have to specify whether or not it uses the mod bus or the game bus. This is now done automatically, as much as I understand it. So that is no longer needed. And we also need to change this in all of the events. So we're just going to go into the events package here, and we can see that we just basically need to delete all of the bus mentions over here. So there's no longer a bus coming. I guess we're now driving by train or something like that. I don't know. Okay, bad joke, but listen. Okay, I have to cope somehow with this 121.10 stuff, okay? But now, the big changes, what are they? Well, one big change is in the particle. The other big change is in the block entity renderer. So if we go into the block entity renderer, you can see all sorts of crazy stuff. Why is there a change? Well, similar to how they've changed the entities and the entity renderers to now include the render states, this is now the same thing for our entity. So in entity renderer, we're going to make a new Java class called the pedestal block entity render state. There we go. Awesome. And this render state is going to extend from the block entity render state class. And here we're going to need to basically put everything in that is going to be used later by our renderer. So instead of the block entity itself being available in the renderer, we will now have the render state available. So anything that we want to have able in our render method, let's say, right, where we basically are rendering our item, which is going to work in a different way as well. We're going to get to that in just a second. Anything we want available there, we have to pass it to the render state. absolutely no issues. What are those things? Well, the first thing is the block position. Even that we have to basically, save here. So this is going to be our light position so that we know how to light our item. Then we want the public level. This is going to be the Minecraft world level. This is the block entity level. There you go. And then we also have the public float rotation for our rotation of our item. And another thing that we need in order for us to render the item itself is going to be a final item stack render state. So this is going to be a custom state or a custom render state for the item stack. I'm going to call this the item stack render state equal to a new item stack render state. And there we go. This is the setup for our render state class over here. Nothing too complicated, basically just for fields. And in our renderer, in our entity renderer, now there's a couple of changes over here. Because of course, in this case, we wanted to render an item. Well, this no longer works with the item renderer, so we can basically get rid of this. We can also get rid of the item renderer right here. We don't no longer need this. The render method, as you can see, is also changed, right? So you can see this add override doesn't work anymore. So what we can do is simply hover over this to implement the create render state method as well as the submit method. But before we do this, actually, we have to change the block entity renderer over here because we're implementing this with the pedestal block entity. However, it now needs a secondary parameter here in the generic, and that's going to be the pedestal block entity render state. And now we can hover over this to implement both of these methods, and we can see we're creating a pedestal block entity render state and the same thing in the submit method. So the render method has basically been renamed to the submit method. We can now take whatever we had left in the render method, which is the pushing of the post stack, the translating, scaling, and the change of the position and the popping of the post stack, and we can just add it right here. We can delete the rest of the render method, basically the empty one. I'm just going to format this a little bit differently so that the light level here is at the bottom. And here, the changes here are just that the post stack is now called post stack. So we just basically rename this. Nothing too crazy. There you go, there you go, there you go. So now we're basically still doing this. The only thing that we don't have right now is the rendering rotation. But no worries, because instead of having the access to the block entity, we of course have access to the render state. And right there you can see render state.rotation. Well, there you go. So that's awesome. Or the rendering of the item we'll see in just a second. First, we need to, of course, create our render state. How does that work? Very straightforwardly, new pedestal block entity render state. Very, very easy. However, there is, with the render states, there comes another method that we need, and that is the extract render state method, right? You can basically see extract render state where we actually do have access to the block entity. So right now, anything that we need is basically should be done here. So we remember that the render state that we've just created, we want to get the light position, we want to get the block entity level, the rotation, and we also have to somehow specify what the item is that we want to render. Absolutely no issue. So we're going to do exactly this. We're going to take the render state over here. You can see this is the second parameter, right? And this is the render state. So render state dot light position is equal to block entity dot get block position, right? So basically here in this extract render state method, if I understand this correctly, this runs once every frame, I would assume, or once every tick. And when this runs, it basically takes whatever values we want from our block entity and it saves them in this render state. It's basically just another class in between. I don't know why exactly they did this, but they probably have their reasons, right? Like there's probably a good reason to do this. It might have to do with the changes for the vibrant visuals, right? It could be the case that has something to do with it, but who knows? Anyway, extract render state block entity level is equal to the block entity dot get level. Then we have the render state dot rotation, which is equal to the block entity dot get rendering rotation. And finally, we want to add the item render state. For this, we need an item model resolver. Sounds really complicated, is actually not that bad. We're going to have a new field. This is a private final item model resolver. We're going to call this the item model resolver. Because it is final, we have to assign this inside of the constructor. So in the pedestal block entity renderer constructor, we're going to say item model resolver, and that is equal to context.item model resolver. Very straightforward, luckily, very easily done. And then here, inside of the extract render state, we can use that item model resolver, and we call the update for top item method, passing in the render state.item stack render state. So this is the render state that we've created inside of our pedestal render state. I know, sounds a little bit crazy and a little bit convoluted, but it's totally fine. We then have to assign the item stack that we want to render. That is, of course, block entity.inventory.get stack in slot 0. Then we want to say item display context fixed in this case. And then we want to get the level block entity dot get level. And finally, there's no owner, so this is going to be a null. And seed, I just put in 0. I'm not sure if this is important or not, but I just put in 0. You will notice that there is a red underline over the get, stack, and slot. You can see the item stack handler is deprecated since 121.9. So if we were to middle mouse button click on this, navigate to it, then you can see that the entire class over here is slated for removal. It is going to work right now. However, it might not work in the next NeoForge version, right? It might be, it's deprecated, so it will be removed at some point. Like I said, this is the change that I've mentioned in the very beginning with the transferred rework. I have not yet been able to fully go through this, so obviously this is going to be a little bit more complicated to first learn everything, and then we're going to basically deal with this when it gets relevant, basically, right? So hopefully in 122, and then we're going to talk about that in more detail. And for now, we'll just keep the old system running. Like I said, if NeoForge updates and then some point is no longer in beta and this is removed, then you either need to just downgrade to a different version, or you just need to take a look at the stuff yourself for the time being, right? I remain of the opinion that you shouldn't update yet. I just hope that 122 comes out at some point. Okay, now that we have the item model resolver updated, basically, we now want to render the item. How do we do this? In the submit method, remember, this is the new quote-unquote render method. Instead of here, we say render state dot, and this is going to be the item stack render state. So we're once again referring to our pedestal block entity render state that we have created. And here, the item stack render state. And this one, we're going to submit. Basically, we're going to render it, right? So once again, when you see the submit method, we can think about it as being the render method, right? So we're going to render this item stack. How do we render it? Well, with the post stack, of course. We're going to have to submit node collector, pass that in, then the get light level. For this, we need the block entity level. We can get this via our custom render state that we've created, and then the render state dot light position. Then we need the no overlay. So this is going to be the overlay texture dot no overlay. And finally, the outline color, I just put in a 0 right here. Highly recommended to also just play around with this and see what you can come up with. Now that is the changes to the block entity renderer. Definitely quite a few things, but luckily it still should work exactly how it worked before. So that's pretty neat. Next thing is data gen, the data generators class, simply the bus over here once again. And that is it in that case. I believe that is everything. Yes. And then the particles. If we go into the bismuth particles, the texture sheet particles no longer exists. This is now the single quad particle. And this requires another thing in the super. So this other thing is going to be the sprite set.first. So it's going to use the first sprite of the sprite set. We also can hover over this to implement the get layer method. So this is the same as the render type method, more or less. And here we are simply going to use layer.translucent. We can remove the render layer. Like I said, this is basically the same thing. It does the same thing. And for the create particle, in this case, we simply want another parameter, and that is the random source. In this case, random source. And that is basically all the changes that we need. It sounds more complicated than it actually is, but it looked like it's more complicated, but it really is not. This should be everything we need to change here. I actually think we have everything. I think we might have everything. That might be it, right? Definitely not too bad. Like I said, the render, obviously. And if we were to go into our custom entity, right, the pedestal block entity and the growth chamber, we can see there's a lot of different things that are deprecated at this point. Like I said, this is still going to work, but at some point they will remove the item stack handler, and then we will need to use the new transfer API. I expect this to be much better, but once again, I have to really sit down and learn all of it and how it works before we can really go into this. And I do think right now, just updating to 121.10 is probably enough. With everything done, as per usual, let's just jump into the game and see if it works. There's another thing, and that is the no collision is finally written correctly with 2 L's and 1 S. So there you go. That was just a typo that they changed probably in Parchment. And I think that's it. I think all of the rest is just... Well, apparently there are a couple more things. Let's just see. Indeed, there's actually more changes to the renderer still. Of course, those are no longer the render methods. Those are now the submit methods. Now, they don't have to be overwritten, but we can. So we can do submit and then literally just paste whatever we had in here. Bada bing, bada boom. Nothing too crazy. I believe the same thing goes for all of them. Let's just double check over here. I definitely know that something is happening in the Tomahawk renderer. That is for sure. So this is the submit method. And here we get actually a really, I mean, I would say big issue, because if we were to, let's say, get all of the things that we had in here and we paste them in, what you will find is that, well, there is no more buffer that we have access to. There's no more packed light that we have access to. This is probably also going to work via some sort of rendering. I've not been able to do it. So right now, one sort of thing that we're sadly have to leave behind is the rendering of the Tomahawk. Right now, the Tomahawk is not going to be rendered. Once again, I haven't looked into this too much, but for how changes go, it's actually not that bad. And I think hopefully this is everything. Let's see. Maybe there's a couple of other things. Yes, is client side was previously a field and it is now a method. You can only use the method, and I think that that's going to be all of the rest of the things that we have. Has shift down. Yeah, so that has changed to Minecraft.getInstance. Do note that if you do this, then you need to make sure that you're on the client. I'm pretty sure append hover text is only ever going to be happening on the client. And also, this is, I believe, deprecated anyway. So this it should be done differently, but we're going to just basically accept it for the time being. We have some more changes, and that is the client side over here. Absolutely no worries. I used the field apparently a few more times. Spawn egg item, absolutely correct. Instead of passing in the mod entities, we now have properties.spawn egg, and then inside of there, that is where we add this. So basically, it's using the new component system for that too. Let's see, another run, and I believe the rest is only warnings. So I think we got it. As per usual, of course, all of the code will be available to you in the description below, so you can also double check that on the GitHub repository. No issues whatsoever. And let's just see, make a new world for this. Let's jump in and let's take a look. All right, if we look at the rest of the stuff, the bow still fires. If we dig down and use the hammer still hammers and works. The chisel still chisels, and we can even see the particles also still work. There we go. That's awesome. If we look at the pedestal does still work as well. There we go. We can put stuff in there. And the chair, we can also still sit on that. Absolutely fantastic. And the sapling, I believe it needs end stuff, right? Is this accurate? Nope. Does it need netherrack? What did I set this to? Yes, I did. Okay, that's awesome. And let's go. It still grows our tree. Absolutely fantastic. I think that's pretty much all that we have right here. Like I said, if there might be a couple of other things that do not work 100%. I think everything should work. But yeah, it might be the case that there's one or two things that that might be missing. But like I said, I still recommend you don't update, even though I'm showing this. But yeah, at this point, I understand it gets harder to justify, but there you go. That is an update to 121.10. Oh boy. Yeah, there you have it, 121.10. I genuinely hope that we're going to see each other when we say it's an update to 122 and not to 121.13, 14, 15, 18. Please do not do this to me, okay? That would be very rough. Regardless, that's going to be it for this tutorial right here. Hope you found this useful and you learned something new, and I'll see you all in the next tutorial. Hopefully 122. Until then. So, yeah.